Good morning, everybody. My name is Javier Rodriguez, and I'm excited to be with you here today as part of our Rich Cop, Poor Cop interview series. And what this series is all about is about empowering law enforcement officers on how they can truly bulletproof their financial future, taking the money that they already make, no new money required most of the time, and at the same time, not just building a legacy for themselves and protecting their future during their working years, but beyond as well. Today, we're going to be interviewing one gentleman that I've known for a very long time, and I'm really glad that he's here for a couple of reasons, but primarily because he's a good guy, and also because he's had the IUL or Index Universal Life policy for over a decade. And so it's important to hear from people that have had it long term because we deal with a lot of newer clients, but we also have some that have fully retired and are using the IUL as a cornerstone of that retirement to help them and their families as well. And so without any further ado, what I want to do is I want to introduce our guest today. And before I bring him up, I just want to tell you a little bit about him. He is a police officer in the greater LA or in the LA area. He's been promoted to a canine officer, and that's his dog, which has a pretty cool name. His dog's name is Nemo, and Finding Nemo, I guess, finds all kinds of good stuff. But anyway, so he's been going at it for a long time with the police department, and he's had his IUL for a very long time as well. And he has now leveraged the power of the IUL for the next generation, which is his son, that I'm going to talk about here in just 1 second. So without any further ado, I want to see if he's here and ready to go. I want to bring on board Mr. or Officer Avalar. So let me see if Mr. Avalar is there in just 1 second. And we'll go ahead and take it from there. There you are. Good morning, Officer Avalar. How are you doing?
Good morning, Javier. How are you?
Very, very good. Thank you for your time. I know you worked last night. I know you worked late into the night. So getting up early for this is a big treat for us. And I just want to say thank you for that. I also know you have a baby. So the baby probably gets you up a little early, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. 6 a.m, I'm up. No sleep for dad.
Yeah, there you go. Well, like I said, I really appreciate your time. I'm not going to take much of it, but I think it is important for everybody to kind of hear the message because, as you know, I'm a big advocate, as you are, for the IUL as well, for a lot of different reasons. And all I really wanted to do was just ask you a few questions that maybe could help other police officers understand not just the power of it, but most importantly, the long-term benefits of the IUL. So having said that, if you're okay, I'd like to just get into some of the questions that I have for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Perfect. That way we don't take too much of your time. First of all, move backwards. What are your thoughts?
So that's actually a very good question because I actually have both. I have an IUL and I have a 403B. And I got it around the same time. And it's mainly because some of these officers that when I came on as a young officer, they tell you to invest money and they tell you, okay, their heart is there. And they do it in good faith, but obviously they're not really educated in the money wise. We're in the business of doing police work, not being financial advisors. So I was told that, okay, invest your money on a 403B or a deferred comp, maximize it. It's probably going to be the best investment you will ever do. And so I did. I got a 403B, but I also had an IUL, and I've been comparing them ever since I got
where we're talking about sometimes there's overtime, sometimes there's no overtime, and it's nice to know. Like I was telling the gentleman 2 days ago when he signed up, I go for his particular policy. I go, you can, he started with like $300. I go, you could go as low as 125 if times get tough. You can go as high at I think his maximum was like 980, and so there's a lot of leeway. And then of course we've got officers who have paid nothing into it for. The longest client that I have that has done that was actually a sergeant from your department that went 6 years without paying. And he actually started a new one with me over 10 years ago now. And he told me, look, I know what this is about. I just want to sign up. Take the application. And he goes, I had one, but I lost it. How did you lose it? And he told me, well, because I switched bank accounts and I never told them about the new account. So I'm sure it's gone. I go, well, no, that's not how it works. There's a minimum that has to be taken out of your account. And so anyways, long story, I go, before I take your application, go back, figure out what happened to the old one. And lo and behold, even though he hadn't paid in almost 6 years, he had $16,000 still in it. So had he passed away, had he needed any of the living benefits, it would have been there. For 6 years, he made no payments. And so he couldn't believe it. So we started a new one. We rolled the old money into the new one. So he started the brand new one with $16,000. I just looked at his annual report yesterday, and it's unbelievable how much it's grown. And all of it because of the flexibility that comes with it. One of the things that just blows my mind, it's just mind-boggling how few officers know about this. And even though we've made a tremendous push nationwide, it just blows me away how few officers know about this. And so one of the questions that I have for you is, you are, I should say, one of the IUL pioneers within your department. I know when I came in your department, that one sergeant that I'm telling you about, he had an IUL, maybe 2-3 other people or officers had an IUL at the time. And before you know it, people started to rise, like you advocates saying, look, listen to me, man, I've had this back then for 2 years, 3 years, now almost 14, 13 and a half years. So the question that I have for you is, how do you feel about being an advocate for the IUL? And number two, the second part is, what percentage of because it has grown like you wouldn't believe, of your entire department. It's one of the biggest departments around, of course. What percentage do you think now actually have an IUL, which just compared to 10 years ago was night and day? How, so those two parts. How do you feel about being a pioneer? Because you have been a pioneer there. And like I said, just that one sergeant that I know that had it a little longer than you, but beyond that, because of your advocacy, what percentage of the officers do you think that you work with, especially after this past week when I was there? What percentage do you think actually have one now?
So yeah, it feels. You tell them, you go and give them the information, and they still feel like this is way too good to be true. I'm also a big advocate of this product, not just for my department. I also do it with my family. I have a sister who's a sergeant at a different department than mine, and she didn't have it. I told her, look, these are all the benefits. This is what you need to do. And then she ended up getting one. Her husband got one, and then now she's an advocate in her department. So it feels great. It feels great to be able to educate all these people and encourage them into getting one. And going to the second question, believe it or not, a lot of people have them, but a lot of people still don't have them.
Yeah.
I want to say it's still a good 40% maybe, if that, they have it, because it just sounds too good to be true. And other people, they love to take risks. It's like going to Vegas. I had this conversation last night with some of the younger officers where right now they're all into the stock market and they want to invest money and they want to do this because the stocks are low. But the stock market is like being in Vegas. Might as well put it on black and roulette. You just don't know. You might get a good day where you're gonna make money, and you might get a bad day where you're gonna lose a lot of money. So when I hear them talking about that stuff, I tell them, why don't you just invest in IULs? I'm like, yeah, stock market, there's a chance that you might make good money, but with your IUL, you're always gonna make money. And if you don't, like you said, it's just gonna flatten out, and you're gonna be put on timeout for that moment. But other than that, it's gonna be better for the long run in the future. Like I said, it's about 40. I want to say it's about 40%. So there's still about 60% of the people that need to get educated, need to get this IULs.
Perfect. And you know what? Last night, as a matter of fact, I called one of your coworkers because I want to congratulate him. His application had gotten approved, and then he called me about 10 minutes later. He was talking to his partner, and somebody was saying, "Oh, actually, no, because when the market goes down, you have to go down with it." So I told him, just put me on speakerphone. He put me on speakerphone and I explained, look, listen, this is an index product. You're confusing it with the variable universal life. With the variable, it is variable. It's an investment. This is not an investment. This is a fixed product. You go up, if the S&P goes up, you go up. If it goes down, and then the question was, how can he not be going down? I go, because your returns are being mirrored off the S&P. It's not in the S&P. If it was in the S&P, it would be a security product, number one, and number two, you would lose money. But this is a fixed. I think it's okay. He goes, okay, when are you going to come back around? I go, well, I'll be back there. I'm going to be there next week, and we'll run your numbers. And so, sometimes you're right. You have to just provide that education because they're not in the business of that. And to be honest with you, I know people that are in the financial industry that don't understand it and have a lot of misunderstandings behind it, which brings me to the last question. I want to get you back to your family and your baby. And the last question is pretty simple, but you kind of covered it already, but I still want to ask you, and that is, what do you say to the officers? And I'm sure you've heard this before, like you already mentioned it, it sounds too good to be true. And so I love that personally because I have a lot of input. I'm just curious, you as a client, as a police officer, and especially having had the product for so long, when I'm sure you've heard it before, man, this sounds too good to be true. What do you say?
I usually tell them it is good and it is true. So, like I said, most of the time they ask me, I've been a police officer for about 15, 16 years. And so some of those guys, they kind of look up to the guys that are midway through their career. And whenever they have a question, they're like, hey, what about this? So you kind of do carry a little bit of weight for the younger generation. But yeah, they'll come up to me and they'll ask me, he's like, have you had this? Or how long have you had it? And once I tell them, I had this for 13 years. I had it for 10 years. I have one for my son. I did steal something from you, Javier, and that was I downloaded the app on my phone, and I show him my statements. I show him my son's statements. So and then I pulled out I pulled out like statements from like 2013, and I'm like, look, this is how it was then, and this is how it is now, and I compare it with my 403b. This is how it was then, and this is how it is now. Even though I don't put any money into this, but look at the difference. So once you explain and you give them those scenarios, they seem to understand and go along, and actually they ask really good questions, and some of the questions I don't have, but I mean answers I don't have, but then that's when I refer to you. But other than that, I tell them it is good and it's true. This is a true product that is going to help you in the long run with your investments and or with your future and your family. I mean, just the mere peace of mind, like I can't stress that enough, to know that my family is going to be taken care of if something happens. And anything can happen, anything from a chronic injury, I mean, illness or injury on duty, or you just never know, car accident, anything. So just to know that my family is going to be taken care of, I'm happy, and it's one less stress that I have to deal with.
Perfect. And the good news is that even if something doesn't happen, maybe the thing that happens is your child goes to college and you want to help pay for it, or help your child buy that first home. And so that I was just yesterday or the other day, I was when I was meeting with the officer with the baby, I showed him my app, and I showed not only my IULs but also my granddaughter. Look, she's 2 years old. We put 2,400 into it, and out of the 2,400, I have 1,600 of value. 1,600. So if you do the math, it's only costing me $22 a month. I mean, what do we spend $22 on nowadays, let alone on a monthly basis, to give your child a fighting chance at a future that they deserve? One last thing I forgot to mention, and I'm going to mention it to everybody in the audience right now that's live. We got a bunch of people. Is if you have a question, just go into the comments box of either YouTube, if you're on YouTube, or Facebook, if you're on Facebook, and just type the letter Q and then your question after that for Officer Avalar. And so that way we can go ahead and wrap it up for everyone's sake. So just type in the word Q and then your question, and you just type in the letter Q, your question, and we'll put it up on the actual board as well if anybody has any questions. So let's give it a second, if you don't mind, to see if anybody has any questions. I want to make sure we give everyone a opportunity to do that. The last one that came in was, okay, Shazad just saying basically, okay, well, we showed it earlier, but she was just saying, good morning. Perfect. Thank you. And any questions for Officer Avalar? Again, having had the product for so long, his wife, kid, and so on. Anybody, any questions whatsoever, type them into the comment box at this point so we can go ahead and put it up and have him answer it as well. Unless we have a bunch of shy people, and maybe that's going to be a different story. But all right, well, we're going to give it about 5 seconds to see if anybody does pop up with any questions that they might have. We want to give everyone the opportunity to do that. If not, I'm not going to make it longer than we have to. I would really encourage anybody that is interested in learning about this from a law enforcement perspective, or an agent that works with law enforcement or wants to work with law enforcement, this is your opportunity to do that. So if no one has any other questions, I just really want to emphasize the importance of, believing in what you do, because what you do matters. And I just want to take a moment to, more than anything, say thank you, Officer Aguilar. I know you worked again last night, and so a proper send-off and just say that we really appreciate all that you do. I know it's a tough job to carry out, especially as a canine handler in the whole 9 yards. And so again, we wish you nothing but safety out there. And one of the things I must say about you, that I've known you, like I said, for over a decade now, is, and I've seen you because I've come to see you, or I just show up as, sometimes to see other people. I've always seen you do the right thing. And so I thank you for serving the community the right way. And I think that that's one of the things that is part of our legacy, that when I was a police officer and I was a training officer, I always emphasized to people that, what you do matters, how you treat people, and so on. And I've always seen you do the right thing. I've always caught you doing the right thing. And I thank you for that, because our community needs more officers like you. And I thank you for your service, and I thank you for everything else as well. And for everybody else, one last call. Okay, I think we just got one question. All right, let's see. All right, well, we'll put it up there. I think you answered part of this already, but Vilma Castaneda says, what made you really take a look at the IUL? Can you cover that, please?
Yeah, so it was actually, like I said, it was something where, to be honest with you, it was my roommate. My roommate was the one that told me about it. We had already mentioned that we wanted and my roommate now is a sergeant with our department. He tells me, hey, have you looked into this product? And I'm like, well, I want to get life insurance, because we talked about, you just never know. We might get shot. We might get a car accident. We work. We do a ugly job. Law enforcement is an ugly job, and it's dangerous. So you keep that in the back of your head. So I was looking into life insurance, and I mentioned it earlier. I was looking into term, because I'm like, well, at least it covers me from here to when I retired. But then they're like, well, we have a better product. We have this thing called an IUL. And they explained to me, and it just made total sense. I knew that was the way to go. And I was like, man, I get to pay life insurance, and I get to retire if I do make it up to retirement, which I hope I do. But I'm like, once I retire, I'm going to get a certain amount of money on a yearly basis. I was like, man, this is great. This is better than anything I could think of. So I signed up right away. I knew that was it. And that was a product that I was looking for. So I pretty much stumbled into it. I didn't really look for it. I was looking for something else when I came across the program, and I'm glad I did. I'm so glad I did.
Perfect. And that's last question that we're going to take, because this is the only one we have here. It's from Adebayo Donkun, and his question is, what will you tell anyone that is on the fence?
So that's a good question. I usually get that from the younger guys. They'll tell me like, hey, I just spoke to Javier, and this is what he told me. And what do you think? I don't know. It sounds too good to be true. I'm interested, but I don't know. So I tell them, look, this is a program that when I was your age, when I was 26, 27 years old, I was in the fence as well. And it sounds like oh my God, $300, $200 out of my pocket, out of my checking account. But eventually, it's an investment that you spend $200 on something else. And like you said, Javier, that something's a overtime shift will cover it. And I tell them this is one of those things that 15 years from now, you're gonna tell yourself, man, I'm glad I spoke to him, because this was probably the best investment I have ever done. So I always encourage them. I tell them, hey, you're welcome to look at my statements. I'm not shy. I'll show them to you. And if you have any questions, you talk to Javier. But yeah, I tell them, this is one investment that you're not going to regret. You're not going to regret ever.
Perfect. Thank you. Along those lines, one of those things that you're saying that is so true, what I show people with my statement is that, yeah, you might be putting in $200 a month, which is $2,400 a year. In 10 years, that's $24,000. But when you look at your statement and you have $18,000 of it in 10 years, it really only costs you just a few $1,000s for 10 years of peace of mind. And then, like what the officer I just met with, we showed him in 15 years, based on what he paid in. Not only does he have everything he paid in, but another $8,000 on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's just incredible. I just want to say thank you once again and show you a comment from Adebayo. He says, thank you for your service, sir. Vilma,
Thank
as
you.
well. Thank you for your service. Be safe out there. And to everybody that joined us here today on this live one, we are doing this from time to time with different police officers from different departments. And I just want to say thank you for actually coming in and viewing this. And of course, I want to just say, Officer Avelar, thank you for your time once again, and wishing you and your family the best. And all that I ask is you please be safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. So we don't have anything else. Thank you so much for your time once again. Have a great weekend. Rest up. You deserve it. And we'll be seeing you and everybody else and all of our viewers again real soon as well. Thank you, everybody.